TV, stereo, our own cook. Man, Willis, I think we died and went to heaven.
Well, come off those clouds, little brother.
Huh?
Don't get too used to this place.
What you talking about, Willis?
Songs that made the hit parade.
Watching television is amazing. I haven't had a thought in my head for 3 hours.
I ain't in the mood.
No soup for you.
All you hear is, I want this, get me this, I have to have this.
I have something to say.
I thought he was about to tell us he was leaving us for a white family across town.
My toys are not playthings. Can I not have anything of my own in this house?
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I grew up in the 1950s as a kid, and we always had a television set in our house as far as I can remember. And so the situation comedies I remember sort of all blurred together, and some were in prime time and some that weren't. Probably the most significant one, I would think, was The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
Well, I'm a big fan of King of the Hill because just the character of Hank is appealing to me, what with the way he has to deal with all kinds of situations that aren't your stereotypical sitcom kind of situations. Their treatment of Walmart through what they call Megalomart, which is a wonderful pun all by itself, megalomania and Mart, they do a really balanced look at that. They don't subscribe to the elitist Walmart is automatically bad kind of a thing. They show some of the harm that Walmart does, as in the episode where Strickland Propane, Hank's company, had to go out of business temporarily because Megalomart rather, started selling propane. And at the same time they show that some of that impact wasn't all that bad, like businesses that weren't that efficient in their town of Ireland went out of business.
The comeback with Lisa Kudrow, I thought it was a great reflexive television show that really incorporated a lot of different perspectives on the situation comedy in a way that really made me as a viewer think about it.
Favorite is 2.5 Men. And I just think that show is hysterical, and I just love the way Charlie Sheen keeps getting these new lines each week.
The Andy Griffith Show, and that was basically because of Don Knotts, because of Barney Fife. Barney Fife was always one of my favorite characters. Hogan's Heroes. I don't know why. Hogan's Heroes was always, I don't know, I guess it was the way that they made fun of the German army, or at least made you think that that's the way things are going. I always liked Hogan's Heroes.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I just panicked and it popped out. I mean, I don't remember wanting to ever talk about cake. I wasn't really that hungry.
Cake is good, but you cannot have sex with cake. Of course, you cannot have sex with Anna either, so...
Yeah, man. You should have just lied and told her that you loved her. I love you, baby. See, and I don't love you. Isn't that great?
He does love her, you dope.
Right?
I think Americans have connected with characters in situation comedies because there was something about those characters with which people could identify. And just for example, like The Honeymooners, you know, that was a show that really kind of dealt with working class characters. There was something about that kind of depiction of the working class and sort of, you know, struggling economically that I think a lot of people could find appealing. And, you know, that's something that's a theme that gets picked up by a show even later like Roseanne, where, you know, that show also is able to kind of deal with some social issues.
It's now a whole political football, and, you know, we even have people referring to, oh, the days of Ozzie and Harriet or the days of Leave It to Beaver Well, they were no more realistic in many ways than anything that you're going to... It's fiction, and it's intended to be fiction. And if you accept the presentation of the world, it's basically all white, it's basically all middle class, it's basically all about who's going to the prom or who's going to, who's going to get the keys to dad's car. And to look at that and say, oh, that's what life was like and it was so more bucolic and idyllic back in the 1950s is absolutely thoroughly off the mark.
Sitcoms were based on euphemistic situations, perhaps. And now I think as more and more things get discussed openly, I think that the situations become a little bit more open and a little bit more obvious.
Sitcoms are supposed to show us somewhat, in the long run, better than we are, even though along the way you might be a little less. But the notion that the world portrayed in Leave It to Beaver or Ozzie and Harriet or I Married Joan or any of these other programs was a reality, only those people who are fooling themselves would have that particular opinion or have a political agenda to say that this is the way things were. I think people realize that they were fiction, maybe even more so today then than today, that it really is just television.
I think that situation comedies will always reflect some aspect of the time because they're real people who worked on them and made them, and look at that situation comedy as being almost kind of like a documentary of what an American public, an American audience is concerned about.